Welcome back. Today we're going to learn how you can use just yarn and your fingers to crochet. Now, by now, I hope everybody's learned all of these crafts are dead simple. They're extremely easy, they're fun, and they're fun for the whole family, and they aren't as hard as people think they are. So to crochet, we're going to start with a slip knot. So you take the tail of your yarn and you put it over the main portion of your working yarn. You take a loop of the working yarn and you put it in the middle of the circle that you made. Holding the tail down, you pull the loop that you put in the middle through until you make a little knot. Once you've done that, you put it, I'm going to put it on my right hand, which is my dominant hand, and you cinch it down. You don't want it to be choking your finger. You don't want it to turn colors. You just want it to be just kind of loose. You don't want it to be extremely loose, but you're going to need to be able to pull a loop of yarn through this main loop. Okay? It doesn't even have to be on your finger. If you just want to have your slip knot there, and then you take your main yarn, which you have not cut from your ball, and you put it through the loop, just like you did to start with the slip knot. And you pull up a little loop. So now you have the slip knot and one loop through it, and then you pull another loop through it, through the second loop. So now you've got the slip knot, the first loop that you pulled through, then the second loop that you pulled through. And you keep doing that. And each time you pull a loop through, it's a chain, which is the basic foundation of crochet. So if you pull loops through loops, you're crocheting. And if you're wondering how many stitches you've made, you can look at it, and on one side you can see what look like little V's, and each one of those V's, you can see there's one there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. This one does not count because if you were to do a stitch straight through this, it will wind up making a knot. So there's 7 stitches there. And if you're not sure, you can turn it over, and on the other side, you can actually see it better from the side a little bit. There are bumps, and each one of those bumps is a stitch. So that's how you do a chain for a crochet. Once you've done a lot of chains, and as you can see, it just takes a few minutes to get it going. There's a lot of things that you can do with the chain. You can make big loops of it, and if they're bigger than this, you can make it into a necklace. If they're about this size, or if you make it about wrist size, if you've got a little wrist, then you can take your end and wrap it around a few times and make it into a bracelet. For bigger ones, you can make it into a headband. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. If you're comfortable making the chains, and if you can get them relatively consistent, they don't have to be perfect, but if they can get pretty consistent, then you can start to build up your stitches a little bit. So we've got several chains here, and I'm just wrapping this around my finger to keep it a little tensioned so that it's not flopping around on me all the time. And I use my other fingers to hold the chain in place, kind of. And so I have this turned on its side, so the V's are facing me and the bumps are on the back. And what I can do is, if I want to say I want to make a single crochet in the next row, to do that, I'm going to ignore this loop that's on my finger, and I'm going to go to the next loop over, which is this purple one here. and I'm going to pull up this first one. Now, if you were doing regular crochet, I would probably have the bumps to the top and be going through those so that I would be making a flat chain on the bottom, or to the bottom and going through these two V's, which is the normal way of crocheting. You can do either of those, or you can do it like I'm doing, which is going to be having it to the side. So I'm going to take my fingers. Now you can see how this green thread is going through this first purple one. So if I were to try and pull up through that, I will be kind of just making a little weird thing. So we're going to go one more stitch over, and going through the top loop of the stitch, I'm going to pull a loop through that. So this gives me 2 loops on my finger. And since I've got 2 loops on my finger, I want to make it down to 1 loop on my finger. To do that, I am going to pull a thread through both of those loops, and then just keep a hold of this last thread that I pulled through. We're going to repeat that on the next stitch. Go through the top of the stitch, pull a loop from your main working thread through the stitch that's the chain on the bottom, so that you've got 2 loops on your finger. Pull another loop through those 2 loops. And we're going to finish this row off like that. There we go. Okay, there's that last loop. And you can tell that it's the one that you just did, because when you pull on the working thread, it gets smaller. So we'll go through the next stitch, pull a loop through that chain so that you've got 2 on your finger, pull a loop through those 2, and you've got a single crochet. Again, through the chain, pull a loop so that you've got 2 loops on your finger, pull a loop through that. Okay, and we'll just finish this row off. Let's see. Right there. Yep, right there. And pull through. I've got 2 loops there. And the better you get at this, you can keep your tension fairly even and make your stitches look very nice. Okay, pull it through those 2 loops, the last one on this row. We're going to pull a loop through this stitch so that I've got 2 loops on my finger. We'll pull a loop through that, through both of those loops. There we go. And so that's a row of single crochet. To move up to the next row, you will turn your piece around so that the long part is to the left, and when you're going up a row, when you're doing single crochet or double crochet, which I'm not going to show you in this video, you will always want to chain 1 so that it gives it a little bit of vertical lift, and then you can see that you've got the V's on the top. This time you want to pull, keep this on your finger, and pull a loop through both of those V's. I'm going to tighten the first loop down a little bit. So you've pulled a loop through both of those V's, and then pull another loop through both of those and move on to the next stitch. You've got 2 V's here, pull a loop through those V's, so that you've got 2 loops on your finger, and then pull a loop through that. And keep going until your piece is as tall as you want it to be. It will look a little strange while you're working it, but if you give it a couple of tugs, you can see everything kind of flattens out and straightens out. So, have fun, keep crocheting. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know, and please post your finished projects, and I would love to see them. If you're an introvert, please check on your extroverts and join us next week.